failure.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Not move beyond
no,
that.
don't hurt me. Right? Like,
Yeah.
I've been through enough to know that, like, things will happen. Life will happen.
Yeah.
Right? And how you deal with life when it happens is what tells the difference, right? I'm only responsible for how I show up to the solution. Does that make sense, y'all? Like, I am so solution oriented now because of the things that I've been through. And I encourage people, like, if, like, we live in this space right now, the economy is the worst that it's ever been in a long time, right? So, like, people are losing jobs left and right. Businesses, unfortunately, aren't able to sustain like how they used to.
Yeah.
And now times are just different. Like, you got to make sure that you identify, like, every single penny and account for it. But what I realized through all of that is that failure is okay, because when you fail forward, then you learn more about yourself. I like to say that I went to Harvard University of failure, right? So, like, everything that I've gone through, I have graduated from, and it might have been the most expensive school that I've ever paid for, but it was so worth it, because there's so many people that need advice on life based on the things that I've gone through, and I think that I could be able to help them do that. So in this book, you'll get all those real life lessons. In this book, I talk about how my father served 22 years in prison. And he went to prison the day that I was born. So while I was coming into the world, he was losing his freedom, right? So obviously I didn't understand that that was what society expected to be failure, but I was supposed to be a statistic, right? I was supposed to be a young teen mom trying to figure life out. I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. And here I am with a business that's valued at $100 million. Not to mention, I just made a Times list, the Time 100 list. Okay. It's a big deal. Because I never know nobody in the Times list, guys.
Now you do.
Now I do. But when you talk about all of those things, it makes you smarter, it makes you stronger. So I encourage everybody in the audience, if you are going through something, please get this book. It will change your life.
Yeah, so much of the book you're talking directly to entrepreneurs, right? People who want to start businesses or maybe have just begun that early stage.
Not just entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs obviously is like the focal point, but I'm talking to the person who's working a 9-to-5 or at the top of the food chain in their company that have been working there for the last 10 years and didn't get recognized.
Yeah.
That's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the person that's been in a relationship for the last 5 years, and you know that person is no good for you because they're depleting your energy while you're trying to grow your business, and it's not allowing you to grow and evolve as an entrepreneur. That's the people that I'm talking to. So there's something in it for everybody.
Let's talk about quitting then, right? Like the idea that,
What's that?
I mean, like when you're doing something that's not working for you anymore, right? You're in a relationship that's not working, you have a job that you feel like you're not being valued at. Like, how do you know when it's time to, be like, this is not for me, I'm out of here?
You feel it in your spirit. You ever had a feeling like something just won't leave you alone? It's like it makes your belly leap. That's how I feel when I come up with new ideas. It's like that thing it keeps annoying me. Like, I gotta act on it, I gotta do something. And then my spirit speaks to me, and that's discernment. And I don't mean to get all preachy in here, right? But like, that is that spirit of discernment. That's somebody, whoever you believe in, is talking to you to telling you when it's time to walk. And most times, it's in the most difficult eras of your life and the most uncomfortable that is pushing you to move. Every time I made a big move, it's because I got uncomfortable. It was never in the moments where I was comfortable, because we really don't move when we're comfortable, right? But when we are pushed to do something that makes us feel uneasy, that is when you know it's time to walk. And time will tell, right? Like, nothing happens for no reason. I truly believe that the story in our lives is already written, right? And as long as you lock in and manifest what your vision is and always speak positive things in your life, you're going to understand that, okay, now it's time to go. Now it's time to walk. Now it's time to sell my company. Now it's time to do the thing that scares me. And you'll feel it, and it'll feel right. And when you do it, you'll be so glad that you did.
Yeah, definitely. So much of it seems to be kind of listening to that inner voice, right? When you know something doesn't feel right. I think, a lot of times we're told not to listen to that voice, right? There are other things that get in the way, other distractions. How do you check in or make sure that you're kind of feeling like you're doing the right thing in the moment?
Meditation. And sometimes you might not always get it right. Y'all said I want to go get pregnant again. This is my third child. Okay, 3 under 3, okay? So the voice was talking something different. But meditation and just really locking out. I'm so serious. This is the last one. I'm not having to look at it. but really just locking in. And sometimes you may not always get it right, and that's okay. Because pivots are supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So that when you do it again, you're like, okay, all right, I've been here, done that. So I know how to do things differently.
So sometimes it's better to sort of take the leap even if you're not 100% sure, rather than stay in something kind of stagnant or...
My philosophy is once you take the first step, you are already halfway there.
Yeah, that's so great. Definitely. I want to talk a little bit about Slutty Vegan and kind of where things are at. I'm curious kind of in this moment of expansion, how you're thinking about things. How do you make sure you're growing at the right pace, building in a sustainable way, but also kind of pushing forward?
How many entrepreneurs in the building?
Okay.
How many people are scaling the business? Okay, scaling is ghetto, right? Like, it's ghetto. Y'all, I'm like, every day I learn something new, and I'm like, did I sign up for this? I'm gonna be honest, I'm in therapy right now, y'all. When I first started Slutty Vegan, it was a passion project for me. I'm like, okay, I didn't start this company to make money, right? Like, this was something I believed in. Like, I really care about the consumer experience, and I want people to have a good time when they come into my establishment, because at the end of the day, reputation means way more than money. If you got a good reputation, it'll bring you more money. If you got a bad reputation, forget about it, right? And, it was blissful the first couple of years, and it still is.
Yeah.
But I'm being totally transparent because these aren't the things, people don't talk about these things, right? But scaling is very hard. One of my biggest challenges is scaling culture. So when you go to Slutty Vegan, we're going to call you a slut. We're going to dance with you. It's a term of endearment, by the way, guys. Okay? We're going to dance with you. The music is booming through the speakers. You're going to have a really great time.
An experience, yeah.
But how can I make what it feels like in Harlem feel the same way it feels in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
And have that same feeling in Atlanta and in Birmingham? That is a challenge because you got to be able to wash, rinse, and repeat. And the restaurant industry is one of the hardest industries to be in. So to be able to sustain through post-pandemic, the economy, economic downturn, businesses are closing left and right. It gets scary sometimes, right? So that's the hard part.
Yeah.
The fun part is being the anchor of a movement that is unforgettable. When I die today or tomorrow, they will think about the idea of the ecosystem that this business called Slutty Vegan has created. And it ain't about vegan burgers, pies, and fries, right? Because you can go to any restaurant to get that. But the movement that has been created around the possibility that you can do whatever it is that you want to do as long as you believe in yourself. Because you've seen a girl from East Baltimore, from around the way, achieve her wildest dreams and do it in her most authentic self. It gives you encouragement that I can start a business, So check on me. Y'all send me a DM to make sure I'm all right in the next couple of years. Because it's hard.
Yeah.
But to know that I am unlocking generational wealth for my family, not just for my side, because I gotta pump my husband up. He just announced his franchising, so we like Jay-Z and Beyonce are right? So it's just a blessing all the way around, and although it's hard, I wouldn't trade it in for anything else.
That's awesome.